Hello, YouTube. How you doing? And hello, Cryptonairz. How is everyone on this Thursday evening? It was a wet one for me. We had thunderstorms and lots of rain, and I was praying like, please just don't let it be doing that for this stream. So it has slowed down, and I'm extremely grateful and happy because we have, ta-da, a very, very special guest who we are so pleased and grateful has agreed to come and allow us to question her for the next hour or so. Everyone who doesn't know, I'm sure that you guys do know because she is indeed an XRP, in particular YouTube legend. She's an OG in this space, and I have followed you, and I have to stop myself from fangirling a bit, but I have followed you since I started in crypto, and that was a year ago this September. And so
Okay.
you've been one of my lights. I always appreciate your content, how positive you are, and the fluff that you share always makes me smile. So I wanted to share that this is CryptoEri, everybody, and we're so happy to have her here. You will see her YouTube channel linked in the description below this video. Please make sure that if you haven't, you go and subscribe to her channel. If you have questions, feel free to put those into the live chat, and we will take a few from our Discord. Yeah, so I'm really excited. I'm trying to calm down a little bit. First of all, let us clear up this mystery because people tend to pronounce your name very differently. What is the correct pronunciation of your name? Let's just clear that up for everyone.
Well, the pronunciation that I use is the one that's used here in Japan. So the R rolls like it does in maybe a lot of people know Spanish. So you've got this rolling R, and they don't have, there's different sounds in every language, and they don't have the L, they don't have the Z, they don't have the TH sound. There's a lot of sounds that are not used that are used in English. And also, too, there are sounds that are used in Japan that we don't have in other parts of the world. So Eddie is shortened for my real name, which is Elizabeth. And so it's, some people say Eli, but even the L rolled like an R.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Eddie is one of the most common girls' names here. So it's very easy for people to remember. It's very easy for people to say. And it does sound like a D, like Eddie, but it's not a hard, if you listen carefully, it's not a hard R. It's Eddie. It's rolling.
Eddie.
It's rolling.
Okay, I get it. Okay, so now the mystery has been solved.
Yeah.
For all of those of you who have been like totally mispronouncing her name.
But you could say any way you want, and it doesn't matter to me.
Well, it matters to us. Again, we're grateful to have you here. So I want to start off with a basic question. How long have you been into cryptocurrency, and like who or what was it that attracted you to the space?
I have been into technology for a very long time. In 1997, I actually had a technology company that I started from my bedroom, and it was before you could buy off-the-shelf software. And so I learned how to code HTML, built my own website, built a service. And being in that space, I cyber squatted on a lot of URLs, because I could see that the .com was going to be something pretty big. So I was sitting on some really good ones, and there was a gentleman who contacted me. He's from the UK. He's a coder. He's a developer. And he just so happened to be in Tokyo. And that, wow, small world. And he really, really wanted my URL. He had an investor back in the UK. And we went through a negotiation process for a very long time, for about a year. But in that year process, we became friends. And we would go to lunch every month to talk about how we were going to agree on a price to have me transfer this URL over to him. And it got to the point where we liked each other so much that he got a really good deal. But this is back in 2013. And
Hopefully you
so,
got some free lunches out of it at least, right?
yeah, he was a struggling developer. I think I was always paying for him. But I think in 2013, we were having lunch in Shibuya at a Hawaiian place that I used to love because they had eggs Benedict. And he told me about Litecoin and Bitcoin, and I had no idea about it. I didn't understand anything he was telling me at lunch. But I really respect, his name is Chris. Chris is one of those guys who super smart. And I knew that what he was talking about, I should research a little more on my own. And I did. And that was like summer of 2013. And I checked it out, and I still, like a lot of people, didn't quite understand. I'm not one of those people who got it right away, but I got it by about December of 2013. By January 2014, I actually bought my first Bitcoin. And then it's a long story. I was buying Bitcoin all the way through 14, 15, 16, and then went on to the exchange Poloniex in 2017, and then started trading because there was a lot of other tokens that were coming to the market, and the market was coming alive, and it was super fun. I just found it was super fun. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. The interesting thing for me in that story, though, is that the first Bitcoin, the first XRP I bought was on eBay.
Wow. Seriously? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, there were sellers on eBay selling. I think eBay stopped in 2016. I think they stopped selling, but yeah, from the beginning, I was buying, and I never was burned. In other words, I would give the address. It always arrived. Nobody ever scammed me. I bought from sellers in Israel and Turkey and Bulgaria, and I mean, really just every corner of the world. And everything I bought arrived. Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's extremely fortunate. I don't know that that would happen today. So, wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, because you prepay, you prepay
Yeah.
on eBay, and you have to, I mean, of course, if there's a seller that is not delivering on their sales, eBay takes action and brings them down. But you could be one of those people that they decide to scam in the beginning. But I never was. Yeah. It's a good
That's awesome. So you've been
story.
doing Bitcoin since 2013.
14, January
Okay.
2014. Yeah. Was my, you know why I know that date so well? January 16,
Why?
because I lost the keys to that first address. I still have the address. I still am able to, on the blockchain.com, you can still enter in a password as many times as you can and want. It doesn't block you out. It doesn't say you have only one more try.
Right.
And so that very first address and the very first purchase I made, that wallet is it's not accessible as of yet.
I'm gonna send you an article because I think we did a review of a father and son team that
Nice.
have found a way to do. Hopefully, you can get with somebody like that because you want that to be accessible for sure.
Yeah, I skimmed that article, and I didn't see what they charge.
Right?
Yeah.
They may want 50%.
Yeah, they probably do it maybe on a
Yeah.
finder's fee. Maybe they do it on a finder's fee. That would be good. Yeah. But in the back of my mind, I keep thinking I'm going to remember what that passcode was.
And you may well do that, and we'll all be rooting for you for sure.
Yeah.
Since you started so early, and I see that you got in the way a lot of people got in where they had a trusted friend or somebody that they really thought, this person knows what they're talking about. Let me check it out. as a woman, did you find in the beginning or at any time since you've been in the space that you encountered any barriers in this environment? And if you did, what was your experience like?
I've never experienced any barriers ever in my whole entire working career.
Cool.
Yeah, as being a woman. So I don't come from a position of feeling like I'm at a disadvantage at all. And I've always worked often, not always, often I've worked in very male dominated environments. Sometimes it works to your advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's not always a barrier. But I think in finance, not so much in crypto, but in finance, there's a lot of really sharp, smart women in finance.
Absolutely.
So I don't feel like I'm alone or different. And I also had a father that raised me without ever bringing gender into the topic of conversation. So I was just always thinking I was just like my brothers.
So you always felt empowered.
I think so. I never felt like, well, sometimes you have to work a little harder in the beginning to prove yourself. But once you get past that initial maybe preconceived ideas with some people, not everybody, but with some people, then it's I think a level playing field.
So you never let your gender be an issue for you. You just didn't allow that to happen. And that's a good lesson for a lot of us. I know that we've had conversations here of our experiences landing in the space, and yeah, some of them were all positive. For the most part, they have been, and we are in a group or a community now that is extremely supportive, and where that is not a thing. But I really, I kind of feel for people that weren't as fortunate as you, and I'm happy to hear that there are some good stories out there because I've heard some really crazy things. I know, especially when you first get in crypto, like I said, I've been in just over a year in September. You kind of the entry point was different. I didn't hear it from like a trusted friend. It was just like literally social media. So I got into like rooms and things of that nature, and they weren't very female friendly. So it did kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth to a certain point, but I'm happy to say that it didn't discourage me and I still continue. I didn't give up. But I know that that might be an issue for a lot of people. So what would you say to people that may have had that kind of experience moving forward?
Well, it is a little bit of a mystery to me why there aren't more women in the space, only because if you look at who manages money in many places around the world, women are really strong in doing family budgets. And
Yeah.
it's kind of a natural role for women many places around the world. Sometimes in Japan, more than 60% of the we call, it's not a bad word, but it's called salarymen, the people who have jobs, give the paycheck to the wife, and the wife really manages 100% of the family budget. And if just two of them, or if they have children, it's very, very common. So I'm surprised that more women aren't in this space, because they're very much a natural when it comes to handling money. So
I
yeah,
agree. And that setup works here in the States for some people too.
yeah, I think it's more of a, what I'm seeing in the US, and I could be wrong because I've been away for a while, but I've been noticing a lot more separate accounts, my checking account, the partner's checking account, and then there'll be a third joint account.
Yeah.
And that seems to be really common, the way it's done. And if it works for everybody, that's great. I think that's really smart, actually. It's really smart for the woman to maintain some of her independent, well, as much of her independent finance as possible, I think, because I see too many women all over the world not able to get out of a relationship because they are financially dependent. So
Yes.
that's a fact, and that's something that is a real should be a real motivator for women to enter this space.
100%. I totally agree there. And based on what you said, I had an aunt. She was much older, obviously. She was at the time of her transition, she was in her 80s, but her husband went before her, and she didn't even know how to write a check because he had managed all the finances. She knew not how to pay a single bill. So she literally had to start over again. And I was amazed. And she, always cautioned me about, being independent
Mhm.
and regretted it. Along those lines and that discussion, what's your highest dream for women coming into this space in crypto? What do you see could happen on a positive note?
Well, I think it's the same for anybody in this space. I hope that they make a lot of money, and and I hope that they learn the power of this new technology. I mean, understand it to a level where they themselves could be instrumental in a blockchain project, because there's lots of ways you can contribute to blockchain projects. So you don't have to necessarily be just a developer. So I would love to see everybody. I don't really think of it in terms of uh, gender. I really don't. So I just think that if you can make a lot of money and you can contribute to the space by bringing your talent, whatever that is, to actually contribute to the mass adoption of blockchain and to build projects and make our world better, whether you have a decentralized business model or a centralized business model or a combination, a hybrid of the two. I think that that's really powerful, and that's really something I would want to see everybody contribute to.
I love the way that you refer to cryptocurrency as technology because at its heart, that's exactly what it is. I know that when I got into the space, it seemed so technical. I was a bit intimidated, and I consider myself to be pretty, handy or savvy as far
Mhm.
as computers and things of that nature are concerned. But one of the things it did for me is it did make me feel empowered after there was a huge learning curve with this.
There's still a huge
And
learning
there's
curve
still a huge learning curve,
every day.
100% right. So the empowerment that I felt with having, conquered the piece of it that I did,
Yeah.
again, it's still a work in progress for all of us, was very, very gratifying. Did you kind of
Yeah.
feel that?
Oh, I do feel that way. The only thing I sometimes feel bad about is as someone who is brand new in the space, you get really excited, right? And you want everyone around you to be in it with you, not because you are feeling like you need to be validated. That's at least not the reason why I used to be kind of a person who would tell everybody about crypto, right? But I don't do that anymore. Um, I found a lot of pushback from
Mm,
people, and the pushback came for me because I'm not living in my home country. I live in Japan, so I was using Facebook to do a lot of interaction with people that I grew up with or that I used to work with, my family, etc. And when there started to be some big numbers coming in on Bitcoin, I was really trying to encourage people on the platform within my followers to, everyone, you really can't be left behind. Please take a look at this. And the amount of negative comments that I received, like it's just a scam, it's a Ponzi, I just got so much pushback. It made me feel a little sad, actually,
yeah.
because I still feel like, gosh, those that don't at least take a look and just try a little bit and try to overcome some of those hurdles of the learning curve, which yeah, let's just face it, some people are intellectually lazy. Let's just face
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to crypto, it takes a lot of time to study.
Yes. Hmm.
It's different for everybody, and it's not necessarily required to put in as much as I do. But I'm trying to also come from a position where I'm sharing some knowledge with an audience that doesn't have necessarily the time. So, yeah, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah. What do you think that pushback is about? What is it, just intellectual laziness?
No, it's also because there's people who didn't like. I had a situation yesterday, and I really was thinking about it hard because um, Twitter's a very brutal space, right? It's
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
very brutal, and I was super excited that Gala Coin had a 200% gain yesterday, and I had the founder of that project on the channel a year ago,
Hmm.
and I was super impressed with his vision and what he's built in the gaming industry before. And yeah, I have some in my portfolio, but I didn't put that out on Twitter that I was bragging
Right.
because it really wasn't. I was just happy for the team because I've had two other members. I've had another member of the team twice on the channel, and I've had a couple of the people that they've collaborated with on the channel, and they're also going to rotate their project onto Flare Networks, and I really passionately support Flare. So I feel very connected to Gala, even though it's I don't work for them, and it's
Hmm.
not necessarily the biggest thing in my portfolio. But anyway, I know I'm telling you the, the long story, but the point is on Twitter, somebody got really angry at me, and I was trying to analyze why they would get so angry. And I think it's the same reason why people got angry at me on Facebook is that they have missed out.
Ah, yes.
So
Hmm.
they feel there's a feeling of anger. Uh, you're bragging, you made all this money, and deep down inside, they feel really bad that they missed out or they didn't recognize that opportunity. Um, and so you have to always be aware of when you do talk about crypto. You have to be aware that people are going to feel like they're angry with themselves because they didn't check it out 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and
Hmm.
that anger transfers over to you. So that's how I'm interpreting the reaction that I get.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. We definitely see and experience a lot of that. Um, you're right. And I get so many comments from people saying, "Well, yeah, I've tried to talk to my wife, my girlfriend, my best friend in the same situation. It's like, oh, it's a scheme, it's a scam, it's going to go to zero, all of that." So, it's great words of wisdom from you there is to not necessarily be a missionary about this technology. Just live your life and do what you do and get the gains.
Well, mass adoption has really taken a big push forward with the NFTs. That's been great because people really don't care so much about the technology behind, which is good.
Yeah.
And decentralized finance and the CeFi is also a way that people are coming into the space because they're able to participate in yields that you can't get in the traditional world. So I mean, there are the industry itself as a whole is making some progress to bring people in that can uh, understand how it benefits them. So it's getting better.
Right.
It's
I
getting better.
agree for sure. I know you talk about a lot of cryptocurrencies and different technologies on your show, but everyone knows you in particular for XRP.
Hmm.
What about XRP. Why XRP? Why is that such a passion for you?
When I first came into this space, I was pretty much talking only Bitcoin. That was really the focus of the space at the time that I first began the channel. We're talking 2018 was officially in the very, very beginning, February. And so that I was still very focused on Bitcoin. There weren't as many projects as there are now.
Yep.
And I was a victim of all of the misinformation that was going out there on XRP. And so I talked about it in one of my videos, and somebody took the time in the comment section, not in a way of anger or putting me down, but took the time to explain where I was wrong. And I felt very bad about that, because I thought, well, gosh, if I'm going to continue providing a channel, I have to be sure that I really understand what I'm talking about. So I did some research, and I was like, yeah, wow, I was really off on that one. But when you listen to a lot of the Bitcoin maxis then and now,
Mm-hmm.
and if you don't keep up on the changes that have occurred, because there's been a huge amount of change that has come to the company Ripple and the use of the digital asset XRP. If you don't keep up and you're stuck in 2018 or 2019, it's really a shame, because that information just keeps passing around. And so it's one of the reasons why too I'm so passionate about sticking to the facts. I think speculation is okay. We're in a speculative market, so of course. But when it comes to talking about a project and what it can and cannot do, I really feel strongly about sticking to the facts. So I felt this project needed to have a better voice. And that's one of the reasons why I talk so much about XRP, is because I feel it doesn't get a valid, truthful voice out there. It's a project that is really solving problems. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that, and I still feel that way. We haven't overcome that situation where we've got people who don't understand the project. I mean, we've got
Totally
people who
correct.
have millions of followers.
Yeah. It's funny to me because you explained that you had a certain point of view. A follower of yours was able to factually, explain some things, and you had the willingness to at least explore the possibility that you could be wrong. And I see BitBoy recently, for example, he was off on the wrong tangent about the XRP project, and has recently become, you know, a supporter, a big supporter. But before, he used to make fun of it, and I don't understand why XRP gets some of the hate and the craziness that happens. It's kind of a mystery to me. But like you said, I love watching your shows because you really do dig. You do the research. You pull up like speeches from Gensler from the website. I love it. It's absolutely fact based, and it's straight from the proverbial horse's mouth. What do you think is fueling some of that passion? It seems like either you love XRP or you hate it.
Well, I think that people in general have a sense of wanting to belong to a group. That's
Mm,
that's when you go into the psychology and the sociology studies of what people do to be socially accepted, right? So I think the narrative to be anti-XRP in some crypto circles is reinforcing your position in that community.
hmm.
You can't speak out against it, right? Or you
Right.
get pushed out of that group. Um, I forget what you asked in terms of question.
It's okay. Your comments are perfect. Just asking why there was the hate, and you're saying
Oh,
that about the
yeah,
tribalism that there is in this community for
yeah.
whatever reason, which makes no logical sense to me.
Well,
Um,
George, for here's an example. Here's somebody I follow all the time, have followed him for years. He's super smart, but he hasn't kept up. And so, like I said, people are kind of stuck also back in the days when um, the ledger wasn't as decentralized as it is now. They still think that it's a narrative where banks have to buy XRP. That's not the case anymore. They have gone to an option where you can actually draw off a wallet. That is something that was explained by Ashish Birla, and you can find a lot of material out there that was used in the Ripple swell. And they have the loan product now where you actually can uh, extend that payback 60 days. And the fact that you have a wallet that you can draw down off of at the moment that you need it on demand to execute a transaction, and then XRP does its thing in 2 to 3 seconds, 5 seconds. The fact that the price is fluctuating is irrelevant. And no, you're not having to necessarily hold your own bag of XRP. I mean, these are the changes that have been made. And then people tried to say, well, if the XRP is just moving from one exchange to another, it's not having any effect on the price. What you have to understand is that the more corridors that open up, the more use case that it has, the more XRP is required to facilitate all those corridors. You've got hundreds and hundreds of corridors all over the globe, and those piles of XRP have to just get bigger and bigger and bigger as the amount of usage is increased. And so, yeah, it does have an effect on the supply. And then if you look at how big the remittance market is, that's just one use case, by the way, too. When
wow.
you look at, look at the size of all the use cases. There's not enough XRP out there to do everything. That's why we're not going to see just one solution either. There's going to be lots of solutions out there. And as that supply gets impacted, it's the simple supply and demand. And the price has to rise in order to be able to keep up with the demand. So you've got this, the tokenomics do make sense. It's
Right.
just, it takes a lot of time to build out. This is not a solution that gets done overnight. Those rails take time. The relationships take time. The use cases, everything, unfortunately, I think there was a lot of thought in the beginning that this was going to happen much faster than it really is going to take.
Yeah, and I think that people coming into crypto, especially noobs, really expect this, or people that have a kind of a get rich quick
Hmm.
mentality, not in it for the long term, expecting something to happen, quickly and overnight. And that's just not what's going to happen with XRP in particular. Let's talk about some of what may be holding XRP back to a certain extent, at least here in the States. I know you're an American living in Japan. How does the government there view this technology versus America?
Well, they have been very friendly from the get go, and I can tell you why. It's not because they are special when it comes to technology. Japan is just like everywhere else. You've got the early adopters, you've got those that are the laggards. It's not that. It's tax.
Hmm.
It's tax. The government saw this as an opportunity to tax. This is a population that is on the decline. There's a shortage of workers. There's a lot of great benefits in this country, in terms of what the government takes care of financially. So you've got a tax base that is decreasing, and you don't want to decrease the benefits. Of course not. As a politician, it's a democracy. So if you're going to um, be one of the politicians that propose a reduction in benefits, you're not going to be elected to that position very long. So it's connected to tax. And also, let me just say one other reason. The adoption in Asia is huge as a whole. So Japan is comparing themselves to Thailand and to Singapore and to South Korea, and they too are very, very progressive. This is really. There was a guy that I talked about yesterday in the video, who's the sales of the Americas for a company called Copper, and they do custodial and digital asset management. And he was so spot on when he said that there's a lot of other parts of the world that are going to adopt and put through regulatory framework with the rails quicker than the US. And it's all going to just, he used the example of you squeeze a ball and everything just squirts out somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really crucial time for the United States to be able to stay competitive. I mean, it's really one of those, we say giddy giddy. Giddy giddy is Japanese for we're at that moment where it can go one way or the other. It's very, very close. And I'm not, I'm positive always and feel optimistic that the United States will figure it out. But with the recent words coming out of Gensler, I'm not so sure it's going to happen quick
Yeah,
enough.
we know that Ripple is in litigation right now with the SEC. Where do you see that going? I know you review a lot of this, the goings on your channel, and I know you are remaining positive. Do you think that Ripple has a chance to win against the SEC?
Well, yeah, they have a chance. Yeah. But I think that it's not, they've got a great team, fighting for them. And as I've been following Jeremy Hogan, the Fair Notice Act is very strong. And I pay attention, of course, daily, if not hourly, to what's coming out of the camp from John Deaton. Of course, yeah, it looks very good, but, I don't think it's as simple as, I just don't think it's as simple as everyone says. There's a lot of complications happening, politically.
Oh yeah.
Whether or not who controls the escrow, are there going to be restrictions? Does Congress have to step in and help decide on what's a security and what's not a security before something is really decided? Does the SEC really just have their eye set on the disgorgement? It's just there. It's much more complicated, and we're only seeing a little bit of it too. We're not able to see everything. I mean, look at just what came out in the documents with the investigative work in the pre-discovery or the discovery phase, where we have the czar who her notes were redacted. So we can't see, we can't really see everything that's going on. We can only guess. So, but to answer your question, yes, of course, I think they can win, and it looks good because I think the SEC has miscalculated in many ways, but still, you're fighting a beast. It's a monster.
Sure.
It's a monster. So I don't have this strong opinion because I don't think anybody really knows yet.
Right. Yeah, we all wish we had that crystal ball. I definitely do. What do you feel like Gensler is trying to accomplish? I think that a lot of us, not me and Allison, of course, but a lot of us were were thinking that he was going to be this pro crypto SEC commissioner chair, and he's coming out with this attitude that seems more like the Salem witch hunt than in any kind of a cooperative spirit. What do you feel his intentions are? Do you see him suppressing innovation, keeping things on track? What is going on there?
I don't know. Because if I answer that question, you're going to get into a lot of wild speculation, right?
Right.
And I'm not so, as I told you, I'm not so big on speculating totally
Yeah.
to a point of being like having conspiracy theories. I don't know, but obviously the narrative that he had when he was nominated and spoke about where he agreed there was lack of clarity, now he's totally flip-flopped and he's saying that there is a lot of clarity. And I just don't know.
Yeah.
I think this is there's a lot of murky stuff going on in the background. That's about all I'll say, to a point of where I think that there are some agendas that are being played out here, and it ain't the money, it's the money. It always is the money,
It's always the
right?
money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree with you when you say that we as America are at a very pivotal point. And this is going to determine so many things, whether we realize it or not. Technology is moving so quickly. And I've often said that you're either
Love.
going to be with it or you're going to be left behind. And I'm
Yeah.
hope that we're not one of those countries that are going to be left behind. And I think that that's part of the resistance that we're feeling. It's always like the yin and the yang. There's always the pull of the old guard versus the new coming, anything, whatever that is. And there's always some resistance to whatever that is also. Um, Speaking of what's new, in a recent video, you were talking about Trustline stablecoin.
Mm.
Um, Tell us a little bit about that. And I know the SEC has kind of also seems to have put stable coins on their
Yeah.
radar as well
Yeah.
for some
Crazy, right?
reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Ari coin that's going to be used on the Flare Networks platform is interesting because it's a soft peg to the dollar to start. It'll have it's pegged to the USD to start. It says to start. So I think that it's going to be an on-ramp and off-ramp to other fiats down the line. You can buy, sell, send, receive, borrow, repay. I mean, it's going to be fantastic when it comes to the being connected to your bank account, and it's going to be backed by decentralized reserves. And I'm a big believer, proponent, supporter of all decentralized. I'm not so. If there was one thing in terms of the ideology of what attracted me to Bitcoin, it was the decentralized
Hmm.
nature. And so I hope that we continue this decentralized environment. So it's going to be very interesting. The loans are going to be backed also by crypto, and the loan fees are very, very low, like 1%. The transaction fees have 4 zeros in front of any, in front of any.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so this is the beauty of this technology and these platforms, is that it's going to put more money in everybody's pocket, and it takes away the powers to be who have really controlled this space for so many years and been a middleman, and we've been just didn't have a say in how our money was used, and this is finally allowing us to do it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that trust line and the stablecoin that they're building. And
What
it's
you
going to be interesting to see how, if
Mhm.
Gensler really does want to regulate.
He
How
seems
do
like he
you?
wants to regulate the whole universe. I don't know.
Yeah, but regulating DeFi is going to be, wow. That'll be interesting to see how they do that. I mean, everyone says they can cut you off at the on ramp and off ramp, but there's always workarounds.
Yes, you are correct. And your last statement about the powers that be, uh, and the cutting out the middleman and the antiquated legacy financial system that doesn't work for so many of us. You talk about in your bio on your YouTube channel a global reset.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts? What is the global reset to you? What does that look like?
Well, I think it's the digital transformation for one. Again, I'm not thinking about some pre-planned, uh, powers to be that are manipulating us in a bad way. I think that the world has to reset because there's a shift of powers. There's a shift of power that's happening all over. And this shift requires a reset for those countries who have previously, if you want to say the G20,
Hmm.
they need to reset because they are starting to lose their control.
Yes.
So yeah, but the reset is not all bad. It's going to open up a lot of new doors for a lot of people to participate in I really see it as a positive, not a negative.
I totally agree with you there. I think part of it is this new technology. I think it plays a large, huge role in what's coming down the pike that can improve the world that we live in, if only we just let it be. And I'm praying very hard that that is the case. Um,
I think smarter heads will prevail. There's going to be people who are, we've got Sherman, for example, in in Congress, who is just, oh my gosh, he's a perfect example of someone who has not kept up with the world, and
yeah.
their voices sound very loud, but
Hmm.
in actuality, I think there are a lot more. Um, there are a lot more people who are going to work together to make sure that the right decisions are made,
Yeah,
in
I
terms of
definitely hope you're
transparency,
right.
privacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very concerned about Elizabeth Warren's position on crypto in particular. I just think she's just not educated. I was surprised. I thought her a forward-thinking person, but her thinking here seems to be very backwards facing.
Yeah, well, I definitely think there's some deeper things going on in the background. I mean, when I found
Oh
that she
yeah.
had that 6 o'clock phone call on a Sunday night
Hmm.
on June 27th, I don't know the exact date, but just before, I mean, there's an agenda that's
Oh
being
yeah.
played out. Those were not her words at the hearing,
The other day, no, no, definitely
not
not.
at all. She doesn't understand the space at all. She's just being used to help push through an agenda, which is, um, yeah, it's 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 bad. That part is bad. Yeah, I don't like it at all.
Yes, you're right. I love how positive you are, and I'm really going to work hard to adopt that positivity moving forward, especially as it relates to talks about regulation and what's happening in this country with our government and how they are treating cryptocurrency currently. So I appreciate that so much. Thanks for that. Allison is our resident NFT expert, and I know that she would love to ask you some questions about that. So I'm going to let her do that.
I was watching another interview that you did, and you mentioned that you had a background in high resolution digital imaging. Um, so you predicted at that time that we were going to see some IP violations, and what do you know? 5 months ago, you said that, and here we are. It's been happening. Do you think that we're going to see more of that moving forward, or do you think that NFTs themselves are evolving so quickly, moving into music and access-based tokens, experience-based tokens?
Oh, I think the IP violations will continue. But then also think about all of the different technologies that will emerge to help protect the intellectual property. I mean, there's going to be embedded technology that will be able to detect that. Then there's going to be, just think of all the people who are studying law and look at all the new opportunities for the lawyers.
Yeah. Just so they need more opportunity.
Yeah, well, I know, but it's a profession that can also expand and grow and find new use cases. And but when it comes to intellectual property, there's always going to be violations. So yeah, I just know, coming from that background of high resolution digital image bank sharing with individual artists living and not alive through estates, I understand the laws that go with that. And so it's always something that you will fight. Yeah.
Is there anything in NFTs that you're looking forward to?
Yeah. Did you see the interview I did with the video coin, Halsey Miner?
I did.
Wow. 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 I mean, he's taking NFTs to a whole new level with video. Yeah. And you're you're talking about not only being used in a commercial sense to launch new products and things of that nature, but we're talking about NFTs that can exist in the realm of being able to be historically important for future generations. You know, it's a wow. It's a wow. And if you know anything about Halsey Miner, he is one of those guys who's built over 250 billion in value. He built a Salesforce.com, NASDAQ 100 from scratch with Allison, and he has helped with the technology behind Google Voice. I mean, just look at his list of what he has been able to do. And I just don't have any doubt that he's going to be super successful with Live Planet, which is what his technology company is. And he's going to launch this new platform called VideoCoin that creates the NFTs. I'm like, this one really has my attention.
I'm going to have to look at that. That sounds very exciting.
Yeah. And I think 888, the new world that's going to launch on eventually onto Flare, there's some really interesting partnerships and collaborations going on there. And the people that they have, the talent that they are bringing within that circle of artists is amazing.
I feel like every other day Carson's announcing a new partnership or someone that they're going to be working with.
I think she's having a blast, isn't she? She's having
Yes,
fun.
It really looks like she is. Yeah, she's really loving life right now. And it's great to see someone that is living their passion and being rewarded for that, because so often in life, there's so many people that never get to experience that. And it is motivating, to say the least. Yeah, she does seem that. Well, those were really the only NFT questions that I had for you. I myself am very excited about experience-based NFTs. I just imagine all of it, and gaming as well. I mean, gaming is such a huge,
unbelievable. That's what, when you think about how Gala Games is going to take the in-game ownership of those different products that are part of the game economy and turn them into NFTs, the unbelievable possibilities that come out of that to buy, trade, sell, swap, loan. I'm sure we're going to see loan products come off of it.
Absolutely.
we're going to see NFTs develop into ways that we haven't even really
that we can't even
figured
imagine
out yet. Yeah, we are just scratching the surface.
One of the people in chat want to know if you bought that Flare DeLorean that they were offering.
Yeah, I'm not a DeLorean fan, but I thought it was really, really, really cool. And I'm actually, you're going to see something that I'm working on in the way of an NFT that has a car in it, but it's not a DeLorean. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Okay, we're gonna definitely. I'm in. Let me know when, because I'm buying that NFT, whatever it is. And I just want to shout out to everybody that is in the chat. Thank you guys. The chat has been very active and lively. We appreciate you, Lou, Channing, Sean, Robert, Jennifer. I don't want to miss anybody's. Gabe, everybody, Woody, Charles, everybody that usually hangs out with us. We so appreciate you. Frogadelic Research Group. We appreciate you being here and sharing this time with us. Hey, Kitty. Oh, she's a Siamese. Oh, they're so pretty.
She's a Tonkinese, which are, they are an old Asian breed that is coming from Thailand, which is where the Siamese come from, and then also part of the Burmese breed that comes from Burma, which is Myanmar, and so it's a very old Asian breed that looks a little bit like a Siamese. Yeah.
Well, she is love. She is it a she? I said
yes, it's a she.
She is
beautiful.
lovely. She is lovely. And the last question that we have for you, and again, thank you so much for being here with us. We are a new channel and we are still growing, and this is such a privilege. When Flare drop, do you have any inside information on when this is actually going to happen? Do you anticipate that it will be this quarter?
Oh, well, Songbird just went live. The soft launch for Songbird just went live today. So we are one step closer to getting all of that testing out of the way. And so this quarter, are you talking about third quarter? Or are you talking about fourth quarter?
I'd be happy anytime this year would be would really be good.
I think 27th is the date that Songbird will actually be able to be found in the wallets. And so, it all depends on how the testing goes. I mean, this is really important part to make sure that all the vulnerabilities are found now before. So I'm not so rushing it in my mind, because I want to make sure that there are no problems. Software, I don't know how many times you've launched software, but there's always something.
0.
Don't anticipate in the way of a bug or something that doesn't actually show itself until you are in a live environment. So I'm one of those people who are wanting to be extra careful, and I don't want to play around with my Spark token and have something come up with my money. No, thank you.
I totally get that. Yeah, we've all seen all of the heist and exploits going on in the blockchain space. So, yeah, if that's what you guys are doing, take your time.
I think worries. We've seen enough examples of when you rush a product. That's not a good thing.
Ethereum.
There's so many, right? There's so many.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's so many that have had vulnerabilities that either were caught by the right people or caught by the wrong people. So
they had really, really bad long-term effects, down the road that they just didn't anticipate. So, yeah, you're right about that. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, the reputational risk is terrible, but if people lose their money, that's the worst case scenario. I don't want to see that.
100%. So if anybody else is asking that, you have your answer right here. We want to thank you again for joining us for tonight's
Thank you so
live
much.
stream. We
Yeah, you're
appreciate you
welcome.
so much. And we're going to keep watching CryptoEri. If you have not gone to her channel to subscribe, make sure you are a subscriber before the end of this live stream. Her channel is down in the description box, you guys. And everybody say thank you in the chat. And
It
I
was
do
a
see
pleasure to be with you today.
and we will definitely be doing this again. And we'll be watching your channel as per usual.
Thanks,
Thank
Corey.
you
Thanks,
very much.
Allison.
Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
You guys, that was awesome. Again, if you like this content, please make sure that you go to our Discord, and you can get there by using cryptonairz.com and subscribe to our Discord. You can use the Fall 35 coupon code to get 35% off of any subscription level. There is so much information there, so many wonderful people like CryptoEri that we will be having on this newscast, the Around the Clock newscast, and on the Cryptonairz YouTube channel in general. There is great information to assist and support you if you're new to crypto, whether you're new, you're intermediate, or you are advanced. There's information for you in the Discord and on this channel. So please watch, like, subscribe, and share. If you would like to follow Allison and I on Twitter, this is our Twitter address is here in the banner under this video. Please do so. We would love to have you join our Twitter family. Thanks everybody that did show up for the live stream tonight and supported us. We love you guys so very much. And we thank you for your patronage, because we know there's a lot of ways that you could be spending your time. So thank you for spending it here with us. And we will see you again tomorrow night. Same bat time, same around the clock channel at 8 p.m. Eastern to share with you the next version of whatever the crypto news is going to look like tomorrow. Take care.
We have our interview tomorrow. Don't forget, with
Oh, that's right.
the NFT project Human001. I'm very excited about that. So tune in tomorrow at 8 for that. Should be a good show.
Yeah, I think we have a giveaway on tomorrow's live stream. So you guys definitely
We
should
do.
be watching that so that you can get that giveaway. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's going to be something awesome. So check it out. Check us out. Have a great night. See you guys tomorrow
Night.
night.